When you think of Flint, Michigan, do you think of this? Do you think of guns and violence? Do you think of police and victims being airlifted away from the battleground to the city streets? Or when you think of Flint, do you think of industrial abandonment and desolation? But if you look at Flint, what you see now is not what it was. If you see ruin and decay now, there had to be prosperity and vitality in the past, and there was. Those were the days when Made in Flint referred to fortunes, cars, and great athletes. Flint was a tough blue-collar town that loved sports, and they were willing to pay the price to become great. They were tremendous people. Some of that grit and determination was brought by the people who moved to Flint for the automotive industry. Many of the families were farmers from Arkansas, Missouri, and many other states in the South. From 1910 to 1920, the population in Genesee County almost doubled. These large influxes of new residents came to a changing social network that included racial integration and financial prosperity. The automotive factories paid very high wages for the time. In 1920, the average farm worker made $2.82 per day, and that dropped to $1.92 per day in 1921. A Ford auto worker was making $6 per day in 1920. But a General Motors worker at Fisher Body could make between $14.50 and $18.50 per day. These wages did two things for athletics in Flint. Families could now survive on one income alone, unlike farming, and that freed the children up to pursue other activities such as sports. The high wages also gave families leisure time and excess cash to spend on attending sporting events and financing sporting venues through taxes and ticket sales. Follow the river of time back through the ruins of today. You will find many great athletes who excelled on the football fields, the baseball diamonds, the basketball courts, and the boxing rings of the Vehicle City. Flint has produced a number of nationally recognized athletes. Paul Krause, a great safety for the Minnesota Vikings, Rick Leach, Michigan's great quarterback, and Jim Abbott, the famous one-armed baseball pitcher. And as far as basketball goes, there was Glenn Rice, Demetrius Callip, Roy Marble, and Jeff Grayer. The area's sports successes have come in a variety of sports, such as motorcycle racing, with the local champions Jay Springsteen and Scott Parker. In more recent years, the successful athletes from Flint have included Michigan State's Flintstones Charlie Bell, Mateen Cleaves, Maurice Peterson, and Antonio Smith. There are the boxing greats Clarissa Shields, Andre Durrell, and Chris Bird. The list of top athletes from the Flint area is long. Successful sports programs require resources, and successful athletes need natural ability, but both require the environment and opportunity to excel. Flint provided both of those for area teams and athletes. Flint created an environment that took young people and brought them from the farm fields and city streets to the athletic fields and courts of competition. How that happened is tied to manufacturing, prosperity, vision, and philanthropy. Here is an example of how a few individuals changed a city and society. In Flint, many city kids used to swim in the Flint River and the area creeks. In a 1931 heat wave, 4 persons drowned in 6 days in Flint area waters. One of the young men, Peter Vlar, broke his neck while diving into the Kearsley Creek, and another, a black domestic servant named David Pettigrew, drowned in Hyde Hole on the Flint River. These drownings greatly impacted Frank Manley Sr., a physical education instructor in Flint. Manley was the supervisor for physical education of the Flint Public Schools since 1928. He later became the director of Mott Foundation projects. Manley had been struggling to bring his personal vision of after-school recreation athletics to the young people of Flint. In a 1935 Rotary Club meeting, Manley challenged the prominent members of Flint to help make a difference. He relayed the stories of the past drownings and how after the incident a tree by the river had been cut down because swimmers were using it to dive into the river. At that meeting was C.s.Mott, the great benefactor of Flint. He told the Rotarians, "You may be satisfied with cutting down the tree, but not me. The answer is to get those swimmers into our pools. They sit idle." As former Flint mayor and philanthropist, he was speaking of the school athletic facilities sitting idle after school. Mott, an original partner in General Motors Corporation and a 60-year board member of General Motors, was steeped in manufacturing principles. To him, a school sitting idle most of the time was highly inefficient, and the humanitarian in him saw a great potential to help young people. Mott once said, "What I am worth is what I am doing for other people." And what he did was contribute $6,000 to the after-school athletic program Manly was trying to start. The Manly-Mott partnership created an athletic program that became the model for such endeavors around the country and the world. Mott wanted programs that could be duplicated around the world, and they have been. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt visited Flint in 1936 to see the program. She commented, "They have done a remarkable job of coordinating in Flint. They have a community plan by which they coordinate all the various community forces, industrial, social, philanthropic, recreational, and educational." She went on to add, "The city has become so much interested and recognizes so well the value of this entire program that it would probably go on without any federal aid. This shows the strength of the local public, private, industrial model pioneered in Flint." Bob Root, the athletic director and boys high school basketball coach for Carmen Ainsworth Schools, and the executive secretary for the Greater Flint Area Sports Hall of Fame, said, "I think the Flint area was the forerunner of community education where after-school activities and gyms were open on evenings, weekends, and summers. That meant there was a lot of opportunities for kids to get involved in athletics." The environment in which Mott and Manly created after-school athletics had been developing for many years. Not only did the fledgling automotive industry bring prosperity to individuals, it brought an increase in local government revenues to build state-of-the-art schools and athletic facilities. Manly commented to Mott during a 1935 meeting that 40 schools sat idle after the school day. Private industry and individuals also played a key role in funding athletic opportunity. Prior to automobile manufacturing, Flint was the world leader in carriage production, and in 1901 the Associated Factories of Flint was founded. Key to that was J. Dallas Dort, co-owner of the Durant-Dort Carriage Company, who believed in supporting the working men of his factories. This organization eventually became the Industrial Manufacturers Association of Flint in 1922. It was this organization, coupled with the Mott Foundation, automotive factories, unions, and small businesses that funneled large amounts of cash into sports in the greater Flint area. School athletics, independent leagues, adult leagues, and professional teams all flourished in this environment. Flint has seen many changes over the last century. We've seen times of prosperity and now times of decline. But if you look back over the city's history, there existed a great number of athletes and sporting venues in this city. Now, with these great athletes, all that remains are some city streets named after them, and also their names as they are inducted into area sports hall of fames.